That's his thinking. Please read the citation below. Good medicine, like good biology, is based on the collection and evaluation of physical evidence. So much physical evidence supports the evolution of humans from non-human ancestors, one can validly refer to the fact of human evolution. Denny, anytime, any of you evolutionists, bring it on. I'll take you all on same time with my non-accredited degree.
It's nice that he's admitting it's non-accredited now. I feel like we're actually getting somewhere. Yes, I understood that was sarcasm. I'm British. I get sarcasm. This in itself was sarcasm.
I'm not actually sure if it is sarcasm. We know that Kent Hovind has never been a fan of the United States government, so I think he's actually proud of the fact that his degree was not accredited by them.
Oh, geez.
And how can anyone deny this? One can deny this evidence only at the risk of calling into question one's understanding of science. Well, I think I understand science, and evolution's not part of it. Evolution's a religion.
You say that you understand science, but then you don't understand peer review. And you claim that evolution is a religion, but at the same time you claim that atheism is a religion. Does that mean that me and Skeptic have two religions? Is that even possible?
In that case, I would say I have three, because I also believe that Lisa the Rainbow Giraffe, leaf be upon her, farted the universe into existence.
Such an individual has committed malpractice regarding the method of science. For good scientists would never throw out data that do not conform to their expectations. Oh, really? This is the situation of those who deny the evolution of humans. Such a one is throwing out information because it seems to contradict his or her cherished beliefs. This is exactly what you evolutionists are doing. Can a physician ignore data that he or she does not like and remain a physician for long? No. If modern science is based on the method of science, how can someone who denies the theory of evolution, the very pinnacle of modern biological science, be asked to be recommended to a scientific profession by a professional scientist? I tried to call Denny this morning, got the phone number on there. I'll try again later. I'd like to have him explain where evolution has some science. I went to Patriot University. They always put this picture of this trailer up here, which I never went to. Okay. Richard Dawkins finally commented. People kept going, when are you going to debate Hovind? He said, Dr. Hovind says I'm scared to debate evolution with him. Yes, you are, Richard. Come on, bring it on, okay?
Someone who makes chicken noises at someone else looks absolutely petty, so it's no wonder Dawkins wouldn't debate Hovind on this. It's quite clear that Kent doesn't listen. He has his mind set on something, and it's his way or no way. He's been presented with the information so many times, yet he doesn't accept it, because it seems he doesn't care about the truth.
This is absolutely correct. Kent Hovind is not interested in the truth or the science about the evidence for evolution. The only reason he wants to debate somebody like Richard Dawkins is because he's a clout chaser, trying to ride the coattails of a famous evolutionary biologist and scientist and leech some of the fame off of them and make it seem like they are somehow intellectual equals by having a debate. Well, Richard Dawkins is not going to be made a fool of again like he was on Ben Stein's movie, Expelled, which, by the way, is the worst movie I've ever seen.
Yes, look at his ivy-covered alma mater. I went Hilltop Baptist Church in Colorado Springs, started Patriot University. That's where I attended. I didn't attend there. I preached at that church. I took courses from there. Later, they moved out to the where they are now in the trailer, which I know nothing about, okay? But they peer-reviewed. So what is peer-reviewed? It's currently being used to suppress opposition rather than promote freedom of thought and expression. Now I got a decision to make. Do I go on this line of thought or go to, I tell you what, I'm going to do the other one in a whole separate sermon. That's going to take a long time. I think that'll be good, about theistic evolution. We'll do that next week. Okay. Not all scientists believe in evolution. Using a simple statistical approach, I would conservatively estimate in the United States there are 10,000 practicing professional scientists who openly believe in six-day recent creation.
So in 2016, there were about 6.9 million scientists practicing in the United States. If only 10,000 of these people were openly Young Earth Creationists, that's about 0.001%. But even then, that still goes against Kent's argument that these people would be persecuted for being creationists, or has the imprisonment, torture, and execution of professors and scientists who are openly creationists at universities just not started yet.
Plus, openly believing in something's okay, but you'd still have to demonstrate it, and then have your proof, dare I say it, AJ, peer-reviewed.
Even if all scientists did believe in evolution, that's not how truth is determined. The majority of Germans cheered for Hitler and thought he was a great guy. Majority of Russians cheered for Stalin, thought he was a great guy. Majority of Chinese cheered for communism. History has shown that the majority is often wrong. History of science has often happened that the majority was wrong and refused to listen. to a minority that later turned out to be right.
But it was only when the minority were proved to be right that the majority ate humble pie or refused to accept what was said. Who else does that? The trouble is, Kent, that you have to demonstrate that what you're claiming as a minority is actually true. You just assert things without demonstrating it.
Yeah, Kent Hovind never wants to demonstrate his claims. He's the physical embodiment of, just trust me, bro. What he fails to mention is that oftentimes throughout history, it was a religious majority that was resistant to change based on the findings of a scientific minority. And one example of this is when the Catholic Church was clinging to the geocentric theory, despite Galileo finding that the Earth revolved around the sun. And they actually put him on house arrest for this and hid his findings.
10 famous scientific theories that were later debunked. They used to teach all kinds of crazy things that are now later proven wrong. Evolution is going to be on that list if I have anything to say about it. Evolution is not part of science, okay? One of modern science's greatest misconceptions: nothing can destroy mass. They used to teach the pseudoscience of feeling your head, feeling for bumps. If you feel a bump, oh, they can tell what's wrong with you. I got a couple of bumps on my head from, motorcycle accidents and car accidents and bicycle accidents.
Geez, Hovind, I hope you're not concussed. How many fingers am I holding up?
Let me take that for you, AJ. And multiple accidents, huh? So much of why Kent says the things he says just started making a lot more sense.
They used to teach Mars had canals on. How many remember learning that? The canals on Mars. Baloney, okay? Spontaneous generation. Life can come from non-living material. That is still being taught in the biology books. Got them right there. Still teaching that.
Is this just a list of 10 scientific theories that Kent feels like he's debunked?
Yes, Kent thinks he's debunked this, except he conflates spontaneous generation with abiogenesis. Spontaneous generation was the idea that if you leave rotting meat or a corpse alone, that it'll spontaneously generate rats and flies and other vermin. It's not the origin of life on Earth.
Majority of scientists taught all the planets go around the Earth, and there's still some people teaching that, the geocentric model. It's wrong, guys, okay? It's wrong.
And where do you think they originally got that idea? Could it be from the Bible that suggests that the entire universe was created for humans and literally revolves around us? Of course, there's no mention of religion here.
I'm failing to see where this is going. It's just pointing out pointless things and agreeing with them. Okay, Kent, okay.
Majority opinion used to teach big rocks fall faster than little rocks. Finally, somebody said, hey, let's go test it. Well, you could see a heavy rock is going to fall faster than a light rock. Really? They went up on the Leaning Tower of Pisa, dropped off a cannonball and a BB, hit the ground same time. Proved the theory wrong, been taught for hundreds of years. George Washington's doctors thought, if you're sick, you got bad blood. Take out your blood. You'll get better. Guess what happened to George when they kept taking his blood out? He died. They had special places to get your blood taken out. They were all over the country. They had a red stripe around a pole out front. The barber was the bloodletter. It was wrong, okay? Many people, therefore, when they heard this saying, of a truth, this is the prophet. Others said, this is Christ. Some said, shall Christ come out of Galilee? Hath not the scripture said, Christ cometh of the seed of David out of the town of Bethlehem? These guys thought he can't be Christ. He came from Galilee. Well, they didn't know. He was born in Bethlehem, okay? They're arguing about the wrong subject completely. There was a division among them, and some would have taken him, but no man laid hold on him. Typical wisdom of the world. If you don't like someone's teaching, eliminate him. Kill the messenger. Then some of the officers to the chief priest and said, why didn't you bring him? He said, never man spake like this man. The professor sent their students to take the heretic. They didn't do it their own. And Dawkins and others are afraid to debate on creation evolution. They send their lackeys to do the job for them.
I'm really not sure where this majority opinion being cancelled out by tests that prove otherwise is going. In each instance, something was done to prove that the previous majority opinion wasn't correct. It was demonstrated. Is distracting from the main topic something he does a lot, AJ?
I don't think this is so much an example of the majority being proven wrong by some experiment. This is more just the Bible appearing to contradict itself. Because Matthew seems to indicate that Jesus' family fled to Egypt after his birth, yet Luke claims that they went straight back to Nazareth a month later. And yes, Kent Hovind 100% tries to distract from what the main topic is, despite his cries of one topic at a time.
How many have we torn up on this channel? Professor calls himself Professor Dave. He's not a professor at all, by the way. He gripes about my degree. Not a professor. But anyway, he believes he's related to a strawberry. How many saw that the other night? Finally got him to confess, okay? They answered them, are you also deceived? Why didn't you bring him? That's Hovind translation. Are you stupid? Have any of the rulers and Pharisees believed in him? All scientists believe in evolution. Scientific journals don't publish articles on creation. Therefore, it can't be true. This is their logic. It's got to be peer reviewed. But this people who know not the law are cursed. We have knowledge. You don't. We don't approve of your degree. You are ignorant if you don't believe in evolution. Nicodemus said, Doth our law judge any man before it hear him? Even some of the non-believers like Nicodemus have enough common sense to think, maybe we should listen to this other side. Go home and think about it.
Forget about whether or not you believe in evolution, Kent. You can't even talk about evolution in a way that has an accurate definition at all.
Hovind translation. Hovind misrepresentation.
Yeah, your Hovind translation of the definition is the problem. Scientific journals don't publish articles on creation, therefore it's not good science. It doesn't follow the rigorous scientific method and couldn't stand up to peer review. So yes, that is a problem. And I would like for you to explain what's wrong with that logic rather than simply saying, oh, this is their logic. I don't understand how your degree is relevant to a discussion about evolutionary biology if it's in Christian education.
Because it seems, once you get a degree, you're an expert on everything. Also, why does he keep mentioning things from ages ago to back up his point? How is something said by a potential person who may or may not have existed in the 4th or 5th century of the Common Era even relevant?
They started with the false assumption Jesus was from Galilee. He wasn't. He was from Bethlehem. Since the Pharisees had not believed on him, that was used as proof he was not right. Hey, Jesus can't be the one because none of the Pharisees believe in him. Creation can't be true because none of the peer-reviewed journals publish articles about it. None of the accredited universities teach this. Therefore, it can't be true. This is their logic, okay? Same thing, hasn't changed in 2,000 years.
At this stage, I don't even think he knows what he's saying. It appears he's debunking his own point because he's trying to demonstrate things that haven't been demonstrated as things that have been demonstrated to be demonstrated. Oh, I guess I can make nonsense sound vaguely sensical too.
If it even is vaguely sensical. I mean, Kent, I'm sorry, but you simply can't say that you love science and that science is what we observe, study, test, and demonstrate if your claims cannot be demonstrated and you don't see any value in peer review. In science, all that matters is what is the data that's in the scientific literature? What is able to stand up to the scrutiny of peer review? What gets published and what isn't retracted? If your claims can't stand up to the scrutiny of peer review and aren't even going to be published in the first place, then I'm sorry, you're not a good scientist.
Has he published in major science journals? The majority followed Aaron into rebellion in Exodus 32. The majority voted not to go into the promised land in Numbers 32. Majority followed false gods many times in the Old Testament. The majority of religious leaders hated Jesus. The majority of the world today hates Christians. Majority voted for Bill Clinton twice. Can the majority be wrong? Duh. Many thousands of scientists who do believe in creation. There's all kinds of articles on that. But they're afraid to be vocal about it. They lose their grant money. Roger DeHart, science teacher in Washington. This guy taught at Edson High School near Seattle. He was told he could not inform his students of errors in the textbooks by passing out articles from current science journals. If there's a mistake in the textbook, it's now been proven wrong. You have to teach from the book. I've got that biology book with the whale on it right there. You can't expose errors in the textbooks to the students? Are we educating or indoctrinating, guys? Kevin Haley, biology teacher at Central Oregon Community College, lost his job for simply exposing errors in the textbooks.
The majority of the world hates Christians. It's one of the dominant religions in the world, so that doesn't make much sense. And Roger DeHart tried to teach from the book of Pandas and People, a blatantly Young Earth Creationist textbook that was proven to be BS in the Dover trials.
I find it funny that when people questioned the overlap of intelligent design and religion, which is obviously the main theme of said book, that a spokesperson from the Foundation for Thought and Ethics, a Christian non-profit organisation, suggested that the response should be personal beliefs should not be taught in science classrooms. But intelligent design is not a personal belief. It is accepted science, a view that is held by many highly qualified scientists. Now, where have we heard that before?
Teacher fired for allegedly preaching creationism and having a Bible in class. Takes his battle to the Ohio Supreme Court. You mean a teacher can't have a Bible on their desk?
So it's okay to have a Bible because that's what you believe, huh, Kent? Which essentially is all these videos are. What Kent doesn't accept and what we don't accept, though the stuff we don't accept from Kent has demonstrable ways of being demonstrated to be the contrary, which Kent then doesn't accept because of A, understanding, B, because if he suddenly stopped believing he'd lose a major source of revenue, or C, because he actually does know but still needs to pretend because of the latter part of option B.
Of course, Kent Hovind doesn't see anything wrong with the teacher having a Bible in their classroom, but there's more to this story than that. You can't teach Young Earth Creationism as an alternative to evolution in a science class in public school. That's the issue. And of course, Kent can never admit to evolution having any evidence, because that would contradict his seminars, which have been his bread and butter for his entire career. He tries to sell them in every single video.
Ohio court upholds the firing of the science teacher with a classroom Bible. The teacher simply had a Bible on his desk. They fired him. Took it all the way to Ohio Supreme Court. They said, we agree, he should be fired. The numbers that John Freshwater was the best 8th grade science teacher at Mount Vernon Middle School. His students often outperformed those by the school's 2 other science teachers. And Freshwater's evaluations were always positive in the 20-plus years he'd been at the school. On Tuesday, Ohio Supreme Court ruled that the school board was right to fire Freshwater in 2011 in a disagreement over how he expressed his Christianity. You think there's persecution in America? No. In a controversial case that touched on the divide between free speech and separation of church and state, Ohio's highest court ruled that Mount Vernon's officials were right in firing Freshwater because he refused to remove creation materials from his classroom. This is how desperate the evolutionists are, folks. I'm telling you, I've been telling for a long time. There's a war going on. Find something to do, okay? We are right smack in the middle of it. If you don't want to carry bullets and shoot with us, well then support us so we can. We'd like to be able to give out videos all over the world. I gave a bunch away this morning. Said pass these out as you travel home, okay?
So in the Wikipedia article about Freshwater, it says that in April 2008, he claimed that his school tried to force him to remove his Bible from his classroom desktop, but he refused. The school later released a statement that said the allegations against Mr. Freshwater are very serious. This is not about his personal Bible on his desktop. It is about the totality of his conduct. And the article goes on to say, at that time, he was under investigation for preaching his religion to his students, teaching creationism, encouraging prayer, and burning students with a Christian cross with an electric lab instrument. Freshwater was also accused of shocking a special needs student in the back after telling him to pick up a test tube, though Freshwater said he might have touched the student inadvertently as the boy walked past him. And look at this. It says, further, it was alleged that he had used materials from Answers in Genesis, Jonathan Wells' Icons of Evolution, and Kent Hovind to cast doubt on evolution and had assigned students to see the pro-intelligent design movie Expelled from Ben Stein.
There's only so much shaking of your head you can do before you get a neck ache. Though luckily, I don't have a neck. I'm a floating circle.
Freshwater's First Amendment rights did not protect the display of those items because they were not part of his exercise of religion. Wait a minute. You don't have freedom to exercise your religion by keeping your own Bible on your desk and reading it during your break time? That's what the case was about.
And yet, he's complaining that evolution and science is taught in schools. Do the hypocrite impression again, AJ.
This guy's a hypocrite, okay? They persecuted this guy because he had a Bible on his desk, just like me. I was at home doing a Bible study, and there was birds chirping and children playing outside, and then they threw tear gas grenades in my house and arrested me.
Yeah. You kill that every time. But watch out, you don't want to turn into KH.
The ruling added another legal chapter to an already voluminous legal struggle between Freshwater and the Mount Vernon City School District. 2007, a student and his parents complained that he used a Tesla coil in class to make a mark on the student's arm. We got a Tesla coil. Damien, anybody ever get a mark on them for a Tesla coil? Well, I get shocked, I suppose. And don't lick it, that's for sure, okay. Freshwater said the mark was an X, okay? The boy's parents said the mark was a cross. That teacher put a cross on my boy's arm. The students' parents filed suit against the school, and a media bonanza got underway. Allegations were raised over Christian-tinted teaching by Freshwater. Now, my mom retired from teaching public school. My brother, who helped me come to the Lord, retired from teaching public school. There are many good, godly public school teachers out there. But I'm telling you, the system is against anything other than the evolution religion.
So I don't know what to make of this whole thing. It could just be the parents overreacting, but even if you totally disregard this part about the cross, it was bad enough what he was doing. He was already using material from Kent Hovind and Answers in Genesis and teaching creationism and saying that evolution was false to his students. That's obviously not okay in a public school.
Agreed. And in any case of suggested violence, things should be taken seriously. It does seem weird that Hovind is dismissing something that suggests violence, but is more concerned about a teacher in his book.
In the Muslim schools, they're against anything except Islam. In the communist schools, they're against anything except communism. Nothing's changed, okay? After testimony, more than 80 witnesses, officials said generated 6,000 pages of transcript over 2 years, the school board finally ended Freshwater's contract, citing his teaching that was skeptical of evolution. You're not even to be allowed to be skeptical or you lose your job. And then you know what they do? They say, all teachers believe in evolution. Yeah, because you get fired if you don't. Hitler said, everybody thinks we're doing the good thing. Yeah, because you killed the ones who disagreed. That's why. His refusal to remove religious material from the classroom. You can't keep your own Bible on the desk. Freshwater had removed many religious materials from his classroom, but refused to remove the personal Bible he kept on his desk. He also kept in the classroom a book on Christianity and an Oxford Bible he checked out from the school library, as well as a poster that the district itself had distributed to teachers, which featured former President George Bush and Secretary Colin Powell in prayer. The district put out a poster of Bush and Powell praying. He posted it in his room, and that's part of why they fired him.
Because the stuff he should have been teaching has been demonstrated. I'm actually failing to see the issue here, other than a man with no understanding of the science behind the facts saying, I don't accept that, you should be teaching what I think is the truth. Maybe he should write some curriculum and post it to school boards and whatnot and see what happens. He'd have to show why he's right, though, instead of why everyone else is wrong, which could be difficult to do.
Yeah, when it comes to curriculum, I'm sorry, but if you get hired by a public school, a middle school, and the curriculum includes material about evolution by natural selection, and you start telling the students that evolution is wrong, and giving them materials by Kent Hovind and Answers in Genesis, and telling them to watch Expelled, you should be fired.
You guys in Ohio ought to have a revolution over these idiots running your school system up there, okay? Freshwater contested his firing in court unsuccessfully. The majority decision Tuesday, Ohio Supreme Court ducked the responsibility of deciding whether he could teach creation in school. It merely affirmed the decision to fire Freshwater. All they said was, we agree with the lower court, let it go. They didn't address the issues again. That's how the higher courts do it, by the way. The judges said the school was wrong to ask him to remove a second personal Bible from his own desk. But the poster and the two religious books represented a much simpler issue. Books you checked out of your school library and a poster the school distributed. This is how insane it gets, folks, okay?
Oh, wow. You're trying to incite a revolution, huh? Or you should go shoot a public school teacher. If you can't shoot, then carry bullets or pay for the bullets. This type of language actually matters. You can't say stuff like this and then act like you're not trying to incite violence against people.
In 2022 of the Common Era, it's saddening to think that folks think that pushing for violence is the best way to deal with things.
His refusal to remove them was blatant insubordination. He spared no disdain in blasting the majority logic Mount Vernon School District. You can read all about that case back 10 years ago when it happened. The centerpiece of Freshwater's argument with the school district had been over the Bible on his desk, not the piddling other claims of supporting insubordination, including the library books and the poster. Teachers throughout the state should feel much less secure in their employment today. The court has created a dangerous precedent by setting a very low bar for districts across the state to fire a teacher for insubordination. He attacked almost every component in the case against Freshwater. The poster was distributed by the school and was displayed in other teachers' rooms. Is this targeting discrimination?
I mean, are we just going to accept these claims? Where are these quotes coming from? A disgruntled person can get very defensive, so...
Right, you can never trust a Kent Hovind quote mine without looking at the source first. And in my opinion, the school board was totally justified in their decision.
There is no documented complaint about the books and no specific order that they be removed. School board, this case should be a cautionary tale for other school boards, a case study of what not to do. They have managed to divide a really nice community and cost the school board and its insurance providers well over $1 million to free itself of a very good teacher. Ball State University bans teaching intelligent design in science class. Ball State President Joe Angora announced that the school would no longer teach intelligent design in science classes following a singular complaint. One person complained.
Intelligent design should not be taught in a science class, so I don't care if one person complained, nor do I even believe Kent Hovind when he says this. But this is a victory for education, if it's actually true.
Exactly. How do we know that this isn't just stories made up to further confirm a position? I don't see links to where he pulled this info in his description, so there's no way any peers can review all this, is there?
In a statement released Wednesday, Gore said intelligent design and creation science do not qualify as science and would no longer be part of the university's science class. Okay, let me ask you, evolution is a simple question. You're walking through the gravel pit here in Lenox, Alabama. You notice amongst the gravel this arrowhead. I would like you to explain what it is and how it got there. But you can't use man or intelligent design as your answer.
Okay, a hominid discovered that using one kind of hard rock against a slightly softer rock meant you could manipulate the shape of said softer rock, resulting in amazing tools being demonstrably made. Well, that was fairly easy. You can even see certain primates using stones as tools, so this isn't surprising in the slightest.
Wow, I think that's brilliant. If you can't use man as an answer, then just say it was an ancestor of humans that's not a modern human. And if you can't even use intelligent design as an answer, then my reply would be there are plenty of rocks that are shaped just by natural forces into a triangular shape that could be used as an arrowhead. It doesn't have to be perfectly formed.
You shut off the only logical answer at the beginning. Intelligent design is overwhelmingly deemed by the scientific community as a religious belief and not a scientific theory, Gora said. Intelligent design is not appropriate content for science courses. This is how they squelch opposition, folks. This is what I'm up against, and by you folks helping me, you got a target on you too.
And not once did Kent say why they were wrong. He just moaned that scientists said he was wrong.
Nope, it's not about why he was wrong. It's about convincing the people in the room that he's been told he was wrong and he's persecuted. It's not about truth, it's about appearances.
The statement responded to complaints from Freedom from Religion Foundation. Freedom from Religion. Eric Hedden, associate professor of physics, crossed the line by teaching intelligent design in an honors class, the boundaries of science. This is what peer-reviewed is about. If your peers don't agree, you can't teach it. You're never going to get new inventions that way. You're never going to get out of old wrong thoughts that way.
So earlier in this video, Kent Hovind said that peer review was submitting something to your peers who all agree with you. Now he's saying that peer review means other people don't agree with you and say you can't teach that. Hypocrite.
Well, you will if they're good ideas and inventions.
Boundaries of science. Foundation claimed Hedden may be teaching Christianity to students, violating separation of church and state. Statement responded to complaints from the Freedom from Religion Foundation. Let's see. You might be teaching Christianity. Okay. BSU spokesman Joan Todd told the Muncie Star Press the school is monitoring Hedden's class. We're going to put a bug in there and watch him carefully to make sure he doesn't teach creation. We want to ensure the course content is aligned with the curriculum and the best standards. Professor of Ecology, University of Chicago, praised Gora's statement. Okay, Jerry Coyne, I'll debate you anytime. Bring it on. I'm sick of playing with him.
Debate on what? Why you feel personally attacked because folks don't accept the claims you can't back up with evidence?
Because to Kent Hovind, public schools having curriculum that includes evolution and teachers wanting to teach that curriculum is a personal attack towards him. And the only response he knows is to say, oh, debate me. I'll debate all of the teachers at the same time.
I count this perhaps a bit premature as a victory, Coyne said. No, Coyne, it was a loss for common sense and science. And it would not have been possible if outsiders like Freedom from Religion hadn't warned BSU what was going on. Oh, the foundation cheered Gora's statement. However, BSU was criticized by intelligent design proponents like John West at the Discovery Institute. Commitment to academic freedom is unflinching, even while she imposes a gag order. You don't have academic freedom. Why don't all of you students that go to secular schools ask your teacher, can we have Kent Hovind come in here by Skype and talk to our class? And let's have a discussion.
And the teacher would reply, Kent Hovind, no, I'm not going to waste my class's time by Skyping to some redneck Christian in Alabama wearing a Hawaiian shirt so he can tell me that dogs produce dogs, and we've never seen a dog produce a non-dog. Hovind.
And we all know how well it goes when a Hovind goes into a school.
Unless you have revelation from somebody who does know everything. And that somebody that does know everything is God.
So
and young man,
if I don't know, so that means if I don't know everything, that means that I don't know if God exists.
you can't know anything. You can't even, you can't, the argument, and I'm sorry, Max, thanks for trying to get a, how old are you, buddy?
If I'm wrong, show me. Come on. Everybody, talk to your teacher and say, could we please have a Skype interview with Kent Hovind? I used to do 4, 5, 6, 7 a week, interviews, radio stations, stuff like that. I'm willing to do 100 of them. I'll lose sleep. I don't care. This is a war. I want to win. Okay.
That's easy. If you want to win, you need to prove that what you're saying's true, Kent. Really, that's all you need to do. Instead of saying the opposition is wrong, demonstrate why you're right. Get the Nobel Prize for creationism. It's honestly that simple.
I should already get the Nobel Prize. I have 4 PhDs. I deserve it.
The memo to the president. Academic freedom was designed to protect dissenting and unpopular views. Why are we squelching this one? Jesus said, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Beware of men. They'll deliver you up to councils, and they will scourge you in their synagogues. You shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them. When they deliver you up, take no thought how or what you shall speak. The brother shall deliver up the brother to death. Matthew 10. The children shall rise up against their parents. This is what's coming, folks. You shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. Verily I say unto you, ye shall not have gone into all the cities of Israel till the Son of Man be come. The disciple is not above his master. If they called the master of the house Beelzebub, how much more shall they call them of his household? They don't like Jesus, so they don't like Jesus' children, Christians. Folks, this is where we are.
Kent, you can try and compare this situation in public school classrooms to the Bible all you want, but the comparison is totally ridiculous. It's a non sequitur.
Exactly. Saying atheists only don't believe us about evolution because we believe in Jesus is such a bad argument. No, we don't believe you because the evidence, or lack thereof, to back up your assertion that all this was created in 6 or 7 days or whatever isn't convincing. That's it. Stop playing the victim card and start demonstrating things.
We are targeted. Okay, all you atheists, all of you, same time, giant debate. You all come to Lenox, Alabama, take all of you on. I get half the time. You go first. Give the best evidence for evolution. Any one of you. I get half the time, one topic at a time, no interrupting, no cursing or swearing. Simple enough. We'll go all day till you prove evidence for evolution. There is none. Zero. It didn't happen. You need to give it up. What you need to do is realize you're on the wrong side.
Who wants to tell him that atheists reject a god? It's nothing to do with evolution.
How are you going to have a debate with all of these atheists at the same time, and yet you're still going to have equal time? And right here, you're saying that, oh, I want to debate evidence for evolution. Prove to me that there's evidence, but there is none. So you've already decided there is none.
Thanks for having me, AJ. I learned a lot about how to kick Kent after he has whacked so many atheists. If you want to visit my channel, you'll find me on youtube.com/theskeptic. The link is in the description, along with part 1 of this video. New videos of mine come out every Saturday.